Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over how the switch function works in Excel and under which circumstances you may want to use it. So in this example, I've got product ID, product category code, and that's going to be used to determine the product type that a certain product ID relates to. So in this example, I've got a table as well to say, okay, category code 1 is books, 2 electronics, 3 clothing, 4 home, 5 toys, 6 beauty, 7 sports. So what I could do in this situation is just do a simple VLOOKUP function. Select my category code here. Use this as my table. Set 2 as my index number. And false to specify that I'm looking for an exact match. And so the lookup function works just fine. So that's not the situation where you want to use a switch function. But let's say you want to do sort of a similar type of lookup, but you don't have a table or you can't use a table, whatever the case may be. Let's just say this does not exist and you're not going to be able to use a VLOOKUP for that case or any other kind of lookup. So one alternative maybe is to use an if function. So you can say if this is equal to 1, then I'm going to set it to books. Otherwise, if let's say B2 is equal to 2, then it's going to be electronics, right? Otherwise, let's just leave it blank. I'm not going to go through every single example here, but that's sort of how we can structure it. Now, the downside with all these if statements is they can get really messy really fast because you've got ifs all the way through, and then you got extra parentheses for all of them as well. So it can get a little messy when you're trying to edit them later on or make changes to them. And so this is a situation where you may want to use the switch function instead. So if I type in equals switch, I'm still going to set that same expression. So I'm going to use B2 as well because I'm getting the number from there. This time for the value, I'm going to say, okay, 1. And for the result, it's going to be books. Then my next value is going to be 2. I'm going to say it's electronics. 3 is clothing. 4 is home. 5 is toys. 6 is beauty. And then 7 is sports. And then at any time you can say, okay, that's all that you need. You can just set aside a default value. So if something isn't found, instead of getting an error, you can assign a default. So I'll just say other. Close that out. And now if I copy this all the way down, it works similar to how I'd use a lookup. And in this case, product category code 10 doesn't exist on here. With a VLOOKUP, I get an error saying it wasn't found. In this case, it's applying my default category, other, which I specified in my formula. And the one benefit of using the switch function, it's a lot neater and easier to organize. We can see, okay, 1 relates to books, 2 electronics, 3 clothing, 4 home. So it's a lot easier to make these changes if you need to later on to clean up your formula or clean up your table. Now, the one thing that the switch function can't do is use greater than or less than operators. So it does need to find exact matches. So you can't say, okay, anything over a certain value is going to be this or less than is that. The switch function is going to be looking for exact results. So it's going to be looking for a one-to-one match. So that's the main limitation that you have to consider. But if you're just doing a simple potential nested if function where you're looking for one value to match another, and then if that's a match, return a value, then that's where you might use a switch function. If you can use a table, you're still probably better off using VLOOKUP or another lookup function. But if you're looking at doing a nested if function, you may want to consider using a switch function instead, because this can be useful when you've got one-to-one matches and you don't want to use a complex nested if statement. So that's a wrap on this video on how to use the switch function. If you liked it, please leave a like and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.